einzelnen Ständen. Now I switch back to English. Yesterday we had a lot of discussions about use cases of 5G and wireless applications, and our next panel will delve into the topic, where are we on the way of the usage of 5G really in manufacturing. And there are a lot of guests here who are interested in manufacturing, and I'm very happy to have Afif, Dr. Afif Osseiran with me. Come to me. I know your panelists. They get their mics, and it's always a hustle when the one panel goes and the next panel comes. But I'm happy that I have you with me here, Dr. Afif Osseiran. He's head of, together with Dr. Andreas Müller, together with him, head of 5G Asia. You see the booth right here next to our stage, and he has a lot of insights about the usage of 5G in manufacturing. That's all about your business, I think. Yeah. And you brought some panelists with you who can dive into the topic, but you have very international panelists today, right?
Yes, Frank. I mean, this is what we are trying to do, to reflect the view from global players on stage, and not only from Germany, from Europe, but from Asia, from the US as well. And stay tuned. It's only a matter, of a couple of minutes. The panelists will be sitting here, and you will hear from all of them. And
but talking about 5G and international business, when we are looking into 5G, where is the area in the world where 5G is most deployed?
Now you are talking about 5G, not industrial 5G, isn't it? I mean, so basically, I mean, North America, Europe, and even nowadays, I mean, India last year has broke all the records. In the past, the year before, it was China, Korea, and Japan, but India almost catch up. So all these countries, and also of course you have the Gulf countries, the Arab Gulf countries. So these are, in terms of penetration of 5G, really is very high. But not industrial 5G.
But not industrial.
No, I'm not talking. You asked me about 5G, isn't it?
Yeah, that was 5G. And what about industrial 5G?
Industrial 5G is basically, in particular, the US, a few countries in Europe, and mainly China. So this is.
And can we see?
But you will, we'll talk about it in a few minutes. I don't want to tell you all my secrets, isn't it?
No. I don't. Yeah, maybe the one or the other secret I want to have. When you are talking about North America and the other countries, can we learn something from them, or is it what to learn? Why are they more fast than other areas? What are the crucial points?
If we are talking now industrial 5G, not 5G, I mean, no, they are not really much. They are on a par, I would say. These three areas, I mean, in the world. So they and one of the reasons might be the introduction of CBRS, but this is that a few years ago has been the trigger, but still you will see it. We are the beginning of the journey, so we should not be super excited, because we have to leave the excitement for the future as well.
Okay.
Then I would like to ask some of the panelists.
Very
please,
diplomatic answer. Yeah.
Please come on stage.
Now I'm very happy to hand over to Afif, Dr. Afif Osseiran. Afif, I'm very happy that you will introduce your panelists to our audience, and the stage is yours. I will hand over the mic to
as
you,
well.
because
Okay.
you have
I'll
something
have a mic
to do with that as well. So have a good time on stage.
Yeah. Thank you, Frank. Well, and the microphone is for you, so it's be prepared. You should prepare a few questions. And if you don't, I will pick randomly, three persons from the audience, and I'm serious about it, I'm not joking. And having said that, it's really a pleasure. Good morning again to be here today. We did a similar panel on the market adoption of 5G last year, And the feedback we got, it was really interesting. So we did diversify even more today the panelists, and hopefully you will listen. I mean, you will go back with some new learnings today. And I have the pleasure to welcome the panelists. I will start by Michael Lee. He's coming from Kaohsiung, from Taiwan, all the way, where you will see ASC Group. They have a factory there and about semiconductor packaging. So, Michael, you will talk a little bit, from end-user perspective, and we are excited that you are here today.
Thank you.
And then the second panelist, I'm taking only alphabetical order, so that's why it's Daniel from Siemens. You were on stage yesterday, isn't it? People have seen you, so hopefully today you can complement by additional information and to unveil to the audience. And then also the third speaker, Andreas. And we were on stage as well yesterday, but today he has the Bosch hat. And I know if it's red, it's hot, so you will see, I mean, what exactly you are going to tell us today. And from OT perspective, and I forgot to mention Daniel from Bosch, he has one leg in OT and another leg in ICT. He will tell us, which one is the heaviest. And then we have Emma in the middle. And thanks as well for coming from China Mobile. She will tell us, from ICT, MNO, and the Asian perspective, where we are in terms, of the market adoption. And let me share with you the flow of the panel. We will start by, I will do a short introduction, then exactly 4 minutes for each panelist. He or she will get the elevator pitch. Then after those 4 minutes per panelist, we'll have a panel discussion. I will get questions from you, from the audience. I have prepared a list. I'm not sure we'll be able to cover all of them, but we'll pick maybe some of them. And we'll end up with a question with you as well at the end. So first, let me begin by a short introduction to tell you, just a provocative, and hopefully there are people also, I have references to some of the analysts. Hopefully they are here, to see that. Yeah, I can see some of them there. So this is, what we would like you to learn today, compared to last year, how much progress have we made? Do we still see the main challenges? Is there anything new that we can add on the top in terms of use cases, in terms of hurdles, in terms of challenges? And then secondly, I mean, in the middle, if we look at the market, both in Asia, in Europe, and the US, how things are progressing. And the third pillar, you have seen, we mentioned yesterday there is, several deployment models. Is there any preferred one? How this is evolving? Also from the operational side, what is the current, it's good that also we have MNO. What is it preferred, or is it, it will be always all models will be there? And then, cloud is tightly connected. I mean, you have seen a talk about AI. All these aspects are connected. It would be good to mention them as well. Let me end up by this slide showing very briefly about the market value deployment in sector. If you look how the market, I already answered partially Frank's question. He told me where are the regions where the market adoption for industrial 5G in terms of value and deployment is or are the highest. Is Europe, Asia, on US. It varies a little bit. Sometimes some content comes on the top, and the others, the other quarter the order will be changed. But roughly, this is the order, and as you can see, the market per region is well split. Even though here, it might appear, Europe with North Africa and the Middle East topping that, but it's mainly in Europe, I would say. It's 3 billion euros according to Omedia, and then it will be in 2018 a factor of 3, 10 billions. What is interesting, if you look at the analyst reporting, there is a big divergence in terms of market value. So if I ask ABI, they will tell me 100 billions in 2030. Why is this difference? Because I think the matter of analysts do calculate is really different. They include also maybe slightly beyond, I would say, communication. So maybe we can hear from them later on, they can comment on that as well. Then in terms of the sector, I think manufacturing is still the top industry when it comes to industrial 5G. If you look at deployment, the market value, it's confirmed by all analysts and even, by us, having deployed 5G networks. This is a short introduction. Let me now move on to the panelists. And I would like to ask Michael to be on stage and let us know from end user perspective, what do you think about industrial 5G and where are we heading?
Okay, thank you, Sir. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Lee. I'm in charge for the General Manager Office and IT of AC. So later I introduce about the smart manufacturing by using the 5G environment. So the first benefit is that we have more hyperlink and more bandwidth kinds of requirement and also the low latency kind of requirements. So we try to figure out any kinds of way we can deal with the environment for the factory side. So, and also that we have a problem that they have a lot of wire and lines in the production line. Also, we have some rolling problem. If we use the AGV moving in the production line, you will see it was stuck in some place over there, and they have rolling issues. Also, we need a more real-time and high-resolution kinds of image to develop each other. So that's why we choose for the NRDCSA kinds of architecture, and also we try to implement the Open RAN architecture for our facility side. So this is currently we are doing. We cooperate with 9 parties, including the Bureau of Government and also for the Ericsson and Kokang and ASCII and also most of our partners. We try to compile everything as smart manufacturing of 5G's environment. And this is currently using, we are focused on that. First thing is that we implement the 5G so we can use the AR, VR, iGlass. The other one is we can have the OHT, HGV, auto dispatching control by the 5G environment. And also we have AI systems for the AOI, predictive maintenance, and also we use this one as the 5G factory kinds of operation. The last one is that we have a robotic patrol in between the factory side, so much more easier to use the 5G environment for us. And also we're doing the rating and blue team kinds of exercise for the 5G the security control. So this is what we have done for us. And we try to compromise the 5G ecosystem. So start from our company, we are the chip maker, and also the Kokang, our biggest customer. We try to manipulate everything together. So we build these kinds of Wi-Fi, MiFi, ODU, and all kinds of 5G iGlasses by implementing the IC inside. The reason for that is that we try doing the 5G environment, VR environment, and also we try to make sure everything is running smoothly in the production line. The final result, we try to compromise to the AC, the metaverse, so we so-called digital twin kinds of operation in the near future. Okay, so there's one more thing that I also go to the Hanover, go to the WEF, the world, that we got the Global Lighthouse network by the WEF. So this one also have a 5G environment, and also we have the AR, VR implementation for us. So this also a spotlight for the Global Lighthouse factory. So that's all we have done for the factory side, and I believe that 5G is a key technology. If you try to compromise with all kinds of wireless solution, probably 5G will play a big role in our company. Yeah, that's all for my presentation. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Michael. Spot on time. And Daniel, may I ask you to come on stage?
Thank you so much. I really like the claim, we use what we build, because we have the claim we use what we sell. So So my pitch is basically, why is industrial 5G so important to the industry? You may have seen these slides before, but I can't emphasize more what is happening in the industry nowadays. As you know, the fixed production lines are traditionally in place for many, many years and decades. So producing mass goods, mass production, moving towards adaptive and modular production lines. This is what we have in place right now. If you look at the German car manufacturers, they need to be adopt and adjust very flexible. So you buy a car, you want to pick and choose all the interiors, the color, the tires, the steering wheel and everything. And they need to be flexible, which means nowadays a German car manufacturer can produce 6 different cars at the same time on the same production line. So this is a huge challenge to the industry, but moving forward, we need to be even more flexible. So if you look on the right-hand side, you see the future production site. It's a very clean shop floor, and the way things are going to be produced is very differently. It's not a production line anymore. It's a shop floor with production islands with certain capabilities. So one island can drill holes, the other can paint things, and the goods are moving in a flexible way through the production and find their way automatically and are assigned via AI, for instance. But to let this happen, everything needs to be more flexible and more moving parts are happening on the shop floor. And this requires a very powerful infrastructure to cater to these needs. And we've created a couple of nice graphics to represent this. So a harsh environment. The shop floor is usually not climatized, so no aircon is installed. So temperature is an issue. Reliability, because if you have outages on your network, production will stop. And referring to my example from the car manufacturing, a 10-minute communication outage will lose 7 cars. And that's a lot of money. You need to have optimal coverage, and with licensed spectrum you have more flexibility and you have more efficiency in deploying wireless infrastructure because you have more transmit power. Then you need guaranteed latencies and deterministic networks, because at the end of the day a field bus protocol with safety on board needs to be transmitted, which is a challenge. And on the shop floor, you consume data. In the consumer space, we consume data. So we stream YouTube, we read emails, we browse the internet. On the shop floor, the devices are the YouTube. They stream to the cloud or to an on-premise cloud. And AI will analyze the data, and with Gen AI, you get even more insights. And as I said, industrial protocols, Profinet, Ethernet IP, these are the challenges. They are in most cases layer 2 based, which is a challenge for equipment which is made for the telco equipment, because that's usually just TCP IP traffic. And to show you how harsh an environment can be, I have one use case with me about steel production at Salzgitter AG in Germany. So that's a use case we have created lately. And the challenge here is steel production is a very carbon intensive business. So at the moment, it's all about green steel and blue steel. And to get to this point, to achieve the targets, you need to have transparency about your processes. And if you have ever seen a site, they are huge. So a lot of area needs to be covered, and it's expensive to run cables in such an environment. So this customer specifically deployed a 5G network to connect an AGV to it. But the next steps is going to be to equip the warehouse where the stackers are carrying around the coils. And the next step is going to be the crane automation. And it's not to get rid of people, actually, it's because of the lack of skilled and trained people to do the job. And that's a challenge nowadays. So that's how we see why industrial 5G is one of the key enablers to let this happen.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, let me move on now to Andreas. If you can tell us from Bosch perspective, where are we heading and what are the main challenges in terms of industrial 5G?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Afif, and good morning, everybody, once again. So as Afif said, I have 2 different hats, no hair, but 2 hats. On the one hand, I'm General Chair of 5G ECIA, but at the same time, I've been driving a lot of the industrial 5G activities in Bosch over the last couple of years, and also would like to share a little bit my view on where we are with market adoption of industrial 5G. And I think what we really did understand in the last couple of years is that it's a long journey, right? It's not a stroll for a Sunday afternoon. You just take your equipment from the ICT domain, you put it in a factory, and then you are done. It's a bit more challenging than that. So we had high expectations, there were high promises, but it's certainly not as easy as this. So it's a long journey. As you can see from the image, there are ups and downs, and it takes some time to reach the final destination. But the good thing is we are not at the beginning of the journey. So we have done already quite some work. 5G ECIA has been established in 2018, so that's 6 years ago. And of course, we have used the time in a very constructive way, and we have done a lot of excellent work in driving the developments towards industrial 5G. So in short, what we have accomplished already, if you look at the standards, they are very good. There's a lot of things in the standards that has been included, especially with the industrial IoT in mind. So there was a good understanding of use cases, requirements, and we have now support for time-sensitive networking, for ultra-reliable low-latency communication, high-accuracy positioning. It's all there. So that's not the challenge. At the same time, we have private networks. Private networks, if you look here at the 5G arena, all over the place. And that's, of course, also very important from the end-user perspective, that you do not have to rely on a public network that is out of your control, right? You would like to have it locally, decoupled a little bit from the public infrastructure. There are still different ways to operate it, but private networks are very important, and we have seen a lot of important developments also in this respect over the last couple of years. Also, this is something we can check. The next thing is a 5G network will never be a 5G network on its own. It always has to be integrated into the existing IT infrastructure and OT infrastructure. So not everything will be wireless, not everything will be 5G. There will be wired communication, there will be Wi-Fi. So we need this seamless integration. And also here a lot of work has been done already. We understand how to couple 5G with time-sensitive networking, how to use OPC UA over 5G and so on. Also, this is something from my perspective we can check. And finally, there have been many test beds and POCs over the last couple of years. Even within Bosch, we have conducted like 15 different POCs in different plants. So Bosch is a very big company. We have very diverse product portfolio. We are producing many things from semiconductors over parts and components for the cars, up to fridges and other household and kitchen appliances. And of course, these different types of production can be very different, and that's why we had a closer look at different manufacturing processes and factories. And of course, not Bosch only did this, also other companies have done the same thing. And I think we have now a very good understanding of what the equipment can do and where the limitations are, how to operate such a network and so on. So also this is something from my perspective we can check. So a lot of things have been achieved, but at the same time there's still some way to go. We are not at the peak yet of the journey. So what is still missing in some cases is the availability of the right features in the equipment. Right? The standards look good, but there's a gap between the standards and the implementation. And in some cases, some of the interesting and promising features, especially for the industrial domain, have not been implemented yet. So there's room for improvement here. Then it's not just having something in a chipset or something in an infrastructure. We need also an ecosystem of devices, of solutions. Right? We need industrial routers supporting 5G, and not just one. We need several ones because you typically do not want to rely on a single source, a single vendor. We need industrial robots making use of 5G. We need automated guided vehicles. So all this ecosystem, and this is also something that takes time. It's developing. You can see it at the 5G ECIA booth. We have, for the first time, our demo wall, for example, where we show different components that are commercially available today. But also here, there's still room for improvement. It's still a way to go. It's also then about tailored solutions for the industrial domain. Again, it's not taking a small cell that has been optimized for the consumer space and put it in a factory and then you are done. No, there's more than this. Also, this takes time. And at the end of the day, we should not just go to the factories as we have them today. Of course, that's the starting point, because in most cases, it will be brownfield deployments. But it's not just replacing a cable or replacing Wi-Fi using 5G. We really should rethink the way how we are building the factory. So 5G native factory concepts. And maybe you would build the factories differently if you know 5G is available and what it can do and so on. And if you take this into account from the very beginning, rather than just replacing a cable here and there. But of course, this requires more fundamental thinking and new concepts here. So this is basically what still needs to be done. And one thing that I also would like to outline here is we have a life cycle challenge. We have different life cycles, different speeds in the ICT world and in the OT world. In the ICT world, it looks like this, right? So we have standardization. This happens in 3GPP. And there's a new release, a new version of the standard coming out every 18 months or so. And then we have the consumer devices, and I'm not sure about you, but most people maybe buy a new smartphone every 2.5 years or so. And then, of course, you can always get the latest features, the latest standards integrated, and so on. In the OT domain, of course, it's very different, right? So the average lifetime of a robot, if I've done my study correctly, is about 10 years. You don't buy a robot and then you replace it after 2 years, right? You keep it for 10 years or even longer. And if you look at the process industry, which is even within the industrial space, maybe more on the conservative side, right? We have very long lifetimes of 20 years, sometimes 30 years of equipment. That means if you want to upgrade things and to bring 5G in from the beginning, we have to take these life cycles into account. We will not just replace your complete fleet of robots just to put 5G in. Maybe you will do this when you upgrade it anyway. So that's why we have these different life cycles, and also this is important to understand if you look at the situation today and if we discuss why we are not there yet. But the good news is, I think if you look also here at the 5G arena and all the great exhibitions, the devices that you can see and so on, it's developing, right? We are on the way. We started a journey a long time ago. We can see this peak. It's getting clearer and clearer, and the ball got rolling. There's still some work to be done, but if we jointly work on this and continue working on this as we have done in the last couple of years, then I'm very confident that very soon we will see more and more 5G in factories, in real-world deployments. Thank you.
Thank you, Andreas, for drawing the picture that things are moving forward, but we are at the beginning of the journey and we are facing some hurdles and challenges. We have seen more maybe positive from without criticism from both Michael and Daniel, but maybe they can comment during the panel. It's not only rosy, but there are challenges. And now it's a pleasure to hand over to you, Emma. So from China Mobile, you can tell us from China as well, from Asia, where are we heading? Where are we right now? And how do you see things are evolving? There will be Emma choose basically, I mean, the difficult way.
Yeah.
No slides.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Emma. I'm very glad to share with you the experience of 5G experience of China Mobile. You say I've been in this company for 20 years. I have witnessed 5G have bring to this company. In my early days, I cannot imagine our company can become an ICT company. But 5G brings that to us. You say, last year, China Mobile has become the biggest carrier of the world regarding the revenue. And we have the growth over 10%. How can we achieve this? Because of 5G. At the beginning of 5G, we understand 5G to be is very important to China Mobile. At that stage, China Mobile basically a mobile carrier. We are working for the individuals. But now we understand 5G to say is something we still someone don't believe because it brings not revenue, but it brings. But in the enterprise markets, the things quite different. For the enterprise market, the China Mobile, we basically enter this market for the infrastructure, for the 5G network. But gradually, we found if they have the 5G private network, that we gradually to get into our customers' IT system. So 5G network is something very small. But 5G application, it's a big category. The revenue of 5G application may be 10 times of the cost of the 5G network, and even bigger. So you say, this is the fast-growing thing of China Mobile. And also something we can learn from the other speakers, just speaking out. Why the 5G happened to the manufacturing in the factory? Because from my understanding, it really helped our customers. You say, especially in industry, there are a lot of things that unsolved issues, like safety, right? So in manufacturing, in old days, there are a lot of things so dangerous, and our workers cannot handle that. But with 5G, now with the digital twin, with the technology, now our workers can work in a room to operate all the machine without any safety issues. And also, I witnessed the thing like import. You say it's a very dangerous scenarios, but now the workers can work in a room, just do the monitoring. They don't need to check. It really saved our customers with the work life, which is the most important and most essential thing. The second thing I've learned also from customers is that how can we save energy? With 5G, with many sensors, we can really save that. And last but least, I would like to say, for the China Mobile, especially I'm based in Frankfurt, I would like to share our experience and a lot of things with our partners in Europe and with carriers. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Emma. Thank you. Yeah, we'll ask you later, how the market is it in China, and maybe mention some of the use cases. I mean, you mentioned generically, about interesting aspects, both in terms, energy saving, safety, and these among the other aspects. Now, let me move on to the list of questions that I have showed you at the beginning, and I will ask the panelists, some of them. But before I will give the chance to you, I would like maybe to begin with you, if there is any question from the audience, if there are any volunteers. So I would like to begin with you and have a surprise for the panelists, so they have not really prepared.
Hi, Patrick Arnold from ARC Advisory. I was just wondering what kind of impact 5G RedCap will have on industrial adoption.
Okay. So the impact of RedCap basically on industrial 5G. And who would like first to begin with?
Maybe I would like to give it a go. At the moment, it's still quite a new technology for industry. So the cost of implementation is quite high. And the cost for each node need to drop significantly to get the ecosystem of end devices going. So RedCap, from our point of view, moving forward, will lower the price to implement a 5G interface natively into end devices. So from our point of view, RedCap is going to be part of industrial 5G moving forward. But it's not there yet from our point of view.
Thank you. Anyone from the panelists would like to comment on that?
Yeah, actually, the NR Lite is 2024 the project for us. We believe this kind of architecture much more easier to maintain and also be less than burden for our company. Also, it's also the energy saving and more easy for us to do maintenance. But I believe we should have a release 17 that can have acquire this kind of RedCap into the this kind of a spec. So yeah, we are looking forward for that, because when you are doing the NRDC kind of architecture, we try to have a NR Lite kind of architecture as well. Thank you for your asking. It's a very modern technology.
Thanks.
Yes.
Andreas?
Yeah, I also would see RedCap as a positive development. So at the end of the day, it's all about return on invest in manufacturing, right? And not for all use cases you need really the extreme capabilities that a full-blown 5G modem can provide. So you don't need gigabits per second data rate and so on, right? So for many use cases, a lower set of capabilities is sufficient. And then of course, whenever you have something that brings the cost down, and be it just for these use cases and these devices, it's a good thing. But I also agree, so my perception, understanding is also it's not fully there yet. It's something now that is coming, right? We see the first chipsets and so on being there. But to have it done industrial grade still takes, I don't know, a couple of months or a year or so, yeah.
Would you like to comment, Emma? Or?
No.
Okay, perfect. I can take one more questions before Mitch. Yeah.
Thank you, Afif.
Yeah.
My name is Mitch Zheng. I'm the research consultant for E3 in Taiwan. And I would like to ask a question starting from Andreas' lead. Andre, you pretty much tell us that we need to think 5G, we need to think beyond connectivity. I think that's how I take from your slides. But then we also have end users from the ASE and also from Siemens over here to offer their testimony about this. Now the question is actually, we also have a Nokia, Ericsson here, right? So from end users' perspective, do you think this ROI, continue to invest in 5G, is good for you or not? It's a loaded question.
Is it clear for you, the question? Okay, perfect. So it was for both of them. You mentioned Daniel and Mikael, isn't it? Or and Andreas, I guess. You mentioned all.
Yeah, I remember like Michael mentioned that they are going to continue to use the network and also the digital twin. And also, Daniel, I can see that Siemens is using the network to help you improve the worker relations. Those are good things. And Emma just kept telling us that we need to invest more. Right? So I was wondering, like, are you echo the same view from Andreas, from end user's perspective?
Okay.
Okay.
You have
Right.
the.
Sure. First thing that we will try to reach to the ASE, the metaverse. And actually, we are doing the 3D modeling everywhere for all our equipment and all our facilities. I think it's a long-term work, but at least we need to set up the environment for the 5G. When you put it on the VR or AR eyeglasses, by using the Wi-Fi, it's a nightmare. So you still need a 5G technology to compromise with the immersed kinds of learning or immersed kind of maintenance. So that's why we developing the AR and the VR technology inside the facility side. We try to make our engineer much more easier to work. The other one is that we believe Nokia and Ericsson play a big role in the core because we still can have the capability to maintain for us. But actually, the standalone kinds of operation, and we try to figure out any better way we can cooperate with them and to build our AC's 5G environment by ourselves. So yeah, it's definitely be a good investment for this one. And we are still on the way, try to reach to the AC metaverse. Yeah, we're looking forward for it. Thank you for asking. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Now we have heard features and like RedCap and also AR, VR, metaverse. And maybe let me change now a little bit. You know, I come back to some of these questions. I will ask you, I mean, very briefly, each of you, you know, I know you mentioned a little bit, how do you see, is there a drastic difference compared to 2023? If no, you don't need to explain why. If yes, I mean, what is the big difference? Can I start with you, Daniel?
Yes, and I'm referring to his question indirectly. The change is, the last 2 years we discussed about ROI and how much it costs and when you can justify the invest. What has now changed in the meanwhile is it is a necessity to have connectivity on the shop floor. So it's not about when does the money come back. It's more what value can I create of the data which I can now collect more. So it's a rethinking process happening as of now. The way shop floors are designed and rolled out. And in the past, we had, let's say, electricity, pressured air, sometimes gas. That was it. Nowadays, the data connectivity is one of the mandatory requirements. So this has changed. So it's not about the costs anymore so much.
Okay. Michael, do you agree?
Yes, yeah. So in 2024, we are trying to reach to the NR light kind of solution for us. It's because it's like a new kind of architecture, much more easier for us to do the maintenance in the near future. So this is the first item. Second item is that if you want to induce the 5G, you need to conquer 3C. First is the cost. Second one is compatibility. The other one is capacity. So much more easier to use the NR light, or we call the red gate, perhaps is a solution for this one. And yes, we're trying to overcome this kind of barrier for that. And from the ROI point of view, in my company, we have a factory need to relay out every year. So some factories still need kinds of a way without any kinds of fiber. Or so I think for the cost, if you're doing the relay out concern, I think the wireless kind of a solution much more easier for us. So I mean, it depends on what kind of factory operation you are doing and what's the layout for these kinds of cell and how to relocate for the communication device. So this is from our point of view. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Emma, would you like to comment on what you have perceived? You can also, I mean, say from not globally, also from China Mobile or China perspective, what is it? Is there any difference between this year and last year?
Actually, I think the 5G 2B is accelerating, just inside China or outside. For example, at the beginning last year, we have only 50,000 real cases inside China. But at the beginning of this year, we have 100,000 real cases.
15 or 50 what last year?
50,000 last year. But at the beginning this year, 100,000 this year.
Okay, more than double. Okay.
Yeah, because understand the competitive, especially about the manufacturing, very sincere, even bigger than our industry. Therefore, some use the 5G technology. They really become more efficient. I believe this two example. So many other manufacturing, this can just join in. They may not start a very big one, but they from POC to a small scale and then go bigger. And the application are very important. So from my understanding, currently 5G is infrastructure especially for industry use. Yeah, this is from my
Thank you.
understanding.
We'll come back to the use cases and example where in China, etc. But I will give, I mean, if Andreas would like to add on, or you have said it in your slides all, compared to 2023.
Yeah, I think there has not been a significant change. The only thing is that we moved forward, of course, and we moved forward somehow as expected. And I think a good indicator is the Hannover Messe, right? If you see the 5G arena and how it's growing, it's even bigger this year than last year. There's more tangible things that are being shown, more devices available and so on, then you can really experience the ecosystem development. And I think now we have better realism and realistic understanding from the OT side, what is possible and where the limitations are. And again, these super high expectations maybe now understood that this is not happening, at least not now, but maybe we also understood it's not such a big problem if not everything is here now, because we understand better what we can do with it. And also from the ICT side, there's a better understanding of what is really needed and how to provide value, what a good go-to-market approach is, and so on. So these things take time, and I think we moved forward, and we are on a good way, as mentioned before.
Thanks, Andreas. If I move on to the next use cases and maybe to give concrete example, and I will start with you, if you don't mind, Emma. You mentioned, I mean, Daniel mentioned, for example, steel, you know, industry. But then within manufacturing, if you look at China, which type of manufacturing? Is it like car manufacturing, which is asking the most for industrial 5G? And what are the main use cases? Of course, you mentioned demand to reduce, you know, energy and also for safety. But where, I mean, do you confirm manufacturing is on the top, and which aspect exactly in manufacturing, and where maybe in China as well? Are there big differences inside China?
Yes, I think the beginning was from the most dangerous industry like battery. You say, for the battery manufacturing, they need to make the environment really safe. So we deploy 5G because 5G like this, right? So Wi-Fi is like this, right? So more safe for them to deploy this technology, and we bring a lot of things for them. First, to monitoring the environment of the whole factory, especially the manufacturing part. And they also, then some manufacturing began to use a lot of machine automatic, this kind of thing. So we help them to adapt the 5G technology. So I think they, from my understanding, the most, how to say, safety, they needed the safety requirement, this kind of manufacturing. First would like to adopt the 5G, then goes to the industry. Yeah, and also like mining, like ports, I just mentioned, also they are joining in this. Yeah, maybe just the beginning from the safety reason, they just want to try, then they find that it helps them, and then we began to, I just mentioned, it's gradually. At the beginning, not a very big one, maybe just the POC, then a small application, and then bigger. It grows, yeah, like that way.
Thanks, thanks, Emma. Battery, mining, ports. Michael, is there anything would you like to add what you have mentioned? I mean, what you have noticed in Taiwan or other places, you know? You, of course, you do the packaging of semiconductors, but are there any aspects of manufacturing which you have noticed also they are, you know, seeing the usefulness of industrial 5G?
Yes. We are the assembly and testing house. So inside the factory, they have a lot of machine, and also they have some barriers in between the metal for the 5G signals. But we believe the more usage is on the warehouse. The warehouse, they can have a very huge camera area with little say on the 5G environment. You don't need a lot of Wi-Fi installed in the area. So also we implement this one as in the warehouse area, and also in the outside for the facility. It's much more easy to use the 5G signal.
For logistics.
As well. From our purpose, we think in these two ways much more.
Okay, thanks for adding that.
Yes.
Daniel, you mentioned the steel industry, but where do you see it in Germany and in Europe? Basically, I mean.
Surprisingly, the process industry is highly interested because they are struggling to find workers to work at their sites due to the baby boomer years. So there's a heavy pressure. Traditional car manufacturing in Germany, the data shower, a car is produced every 90 seconds. And the firmware, who would have thought, is about 30 gigabytes of such a car. So these are typical applications. And of course, the final assembly lines. So everything where it's moving, where you need a reliable wireless connectivity is in focus. But Andreas mentioned it already, the brownfield connectivity is also a big scope, because if you build a greenfield factory, running a cable is easy. But getting additional sensors in a brownfield to make better decisions is a big challenge, and running cables in an existing plant is expensive. So this in itself sometimes justifies the invest of a 5G infrastructure.
Okay, thanks, Daniel. The process, I'll move to you now, Andreas. Bosch, of course, you have many factories worldwide, isn't it? Is there anything else you would like to add? You know, you have noticed. You don't have to stick Europe, even to elsewhere, where you can exemplify what you have noticed, the major use cases, and within factories, of course, in Bosch, where do you see the major relevance?
Yeah, so I can say from my perspective, there's no simple answer, not the single use case, right? It can be adopted by all different factories and then it pays the bill. It's always somehow a case-by-case consideration, and that's why it's important that you don't just say, okay, the others also did not decide for a 5G, and because for you the conclusion could be a different one. So from my perspective, I would say there are 3 different levels. The easy case to start with is if coverage is the main concern. So that's why ports and the mining industry, their coverage is the main concern. Process industry as well. If you have a chemical plant and a large area to be covered in a harsh environment, then the bill is paid by the fact that you need fewer base stations compared to the number of Wi-Fi access points, for example, that you would need. The second one is then whenever you have moving devices, if you have mobility, portable devices, so intralogistics, warehousing, it's a big topic, and so because there we need wireless connectivity, and of course with 5G you can have a higher level of dependability and simply support more devices. So if it's just one HEV, it's maybe not super exciting. If it's a fleet of HEV, and of course we will see more and more of these devices, autonomous mobile robots and so on in future, then it's getting more and more interesting. And maybe then the last level is really this super flexible factory. And for that we need then what I mentioned before, so we have to rethink maybe the way we build a factory from the beginning to take 5G and the capabilities that 5G can offer into account right away. And then we can get closer to the ultimate vision of Industry 4.0 so that we can reconfigure our production within very limited time and so, because then without wireless connectivity it will get very hard to do that.
Thanks. And have you seen a real difference between different regions? Or, I mean, now you've spoken generically, but for you it doesn't matter if your factory is in Brazil or in Germany or in Shanghai, it's basically the same, or Nanjing.
I mean, of course, there might be differences, right? In some cases, we have the same production sites or production lines in different countries, so that it's exactly the same. But sometimes we also have different levels of automation because, again, you always do a return on invest calculation and you calculate how much is the new robot and how much is it if I solve the problem differently. But maybe the biggest difference is simply also the regulatory side, right? So there's different spectrum regulation in different countries. So some countries like Germany, like the UK and many others have allocated some spectrum, especially for private networks. In other countries, this does not exist, or there are different conditions how to do this. And this may then have an impact on the possible deployment and operating models. And also this is something, of course, that needs to be understood and has to be taken into account.
Thank you, Andreas. Now you answered basically partially the question, you know, what is the preferred dominant deployment model and operational model? And maybe I would ask you, you know, Daniel, I guess you agree there is no really, it depends. I mean, but have you, from your perspective, do you say it's only private, local, this is the only model to go, or it's more complex than that?
It's more complex than that, of course. As Andreas also said, it's the availability of spectrum. And there are countries who provide spectrum for the industry. In some countries like China, you have to collaborate with an operator, which are forced by law to support these private deployments. So this is one part of the story. Because of the value which is handled in these systems, we clearly see it as a self-operated system. Because the example from the steel factory, it is one HEV, but if this HEV stops for 1 hour, you will lose about 100,000 euros per hour. So you can't, or you don't want to rely on someone else's SLA, or maybe the SLA is so expensive that you can't afford it. So it's a mission critical task. In most cases, production lines, this is the core task of a customer. Therefore, they have a huge workforce and people on site to take care that everything runs smoothly. And therefore, we don't see this big collaboration with external companies on the shop floor.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Michael, from your perspective, I mean, is there any preferred deployment model and operational model, or you agree basically with
at the very beginning, when you start the 5G environment, you definitely need the ISP and also Ericsson's help for us to install that. And last year, we tried to introduce the Open RAN technology. We try to set up the environment by the partners, and after that, we can do the maintenance by ourselves. So at the very beginning, I will have worked with our partner side and our telecom partners. But in the long run, I think we try to have an opportunity. We can do the maintenance for the 5G network by ourselves. And also, we recommend to have a private cloud. We don't open our data to the public because everything is customers' confidential kinds of concern. So yes, at the very beginning, we will cooperate with our partner, but I think probably 2 to 3 years, we try to do a maintenance by ourselves. It provides with the opportunity that IT also can have a different kind of territory we can explore, just like Wi-Fi.
Thanks. So simplicity is needed in order to allow end users to manage their system if they need to do so.
Yes.
From MNO perspective, what is your response to that? Do you think it's only you have to go via MNOs and that is it? This is the best option?
Actually, last year I met Daniel. We have the exchange of opinions. We believe China Mobile will actually provide the private network for our customers because we have a separated stream for the different customers. And basically, we provide the services from the logo, from the infrastructure, and to the applications. We provide a profile, just depends on the customer's requirements. So I think this, because from my experience outside China, is that actually 5G is something you need the expertise. Most of our role is just like an ICT integrator. We are not a network provider because we need to handle a lot of things. You need to do the integrate, and you need the experience, this kind of thing. And inside China, we actually partner a lot of partners like Huawei as well, Nokia, Ericsson. We now building this our customers' private network with the requirements according to their requirements. If they have specific requirements, we just want to meet their requirements. So actually, we are transparent at this part. I think why customer choose us is because we really lower the cost. Because with a large network, for those small ones, we just lower the cost and also help them lower the cost of the equipment. I would like to say this is something you can understand.
Thanks. Of course, not so many players would have the capability to operate their managed networks. And we have 2 minutes left, and I would like to take maybe quick questions from the audience, if there are any volunteers. And very quickly, you have only 10 seconds to ask your questions right away.
I don't know. Oh, no, it's on, My question actually very short. So how do you think Open RAN will also go into industrial private networks?
Okay, was quick. And Andreas, I would like...
Yeah, thanks. I think short question, but the answer is it's a bit more time. So in general, we see a lot of potential in Open RAN, and we like Open RAN because of not only the modularity, but it's more the possibility to dig a bit deeper into the system, right? And there's this RAN intelligent controller as a new component, which gives you the opportunity then to get access to some information from the radio access network. And we see that we could, for example, optimize our use cases in ways that we could not do if we just rely on a black box solution. So we see opportunities. We have actually an Open RAN network up and running at the Bosch campus in Renningen, close to Stuttgart in Germany. So we're exploring the potential, but also the limitations. At the same time, we understand it's still also a technology that is developing. It's a little bit similar like industrial 5G, right? There were very high expectations. Then turned out it's not so easy, maybe as everybody has expected at first, but also now it's progressing. And I'm still confident there is a lot of potential. We have to learn how to use it in the right way, but also there's still a way to go.
Thank you. Daniel, do you agree? Is it only, rosy, or there are also challenges with Open RAN?
I guess the modularity also brings some complexity to this system. And I guess for small and medium enterprises, it might be too much effort to implement a system based on Open RAN.
Yeah, thanks. Michael, would you like quickly, you mentioned also Open RAN?
It's a very good question. We are trying to reach to the Open RAN technology. Unfortunately, we can't get much help from all the partners. And 5G is a very unfamiliar area for the IT guys. So also we're looking forward to operation with the 5G, 6G office Pontina in Taiwan government. And also we're looking forward from the 5G CIS help that we can get the technology from that. Or else you searching for the partner, the solution, it's very, very few till now. Yes,
Yeah,
but we are
thanks.
working on that. Thank you.
Emma, I mean, we have in 5G ACI Open RAN testbed that it has been many challenges, and you know things, of course, are improving. From China Mobile perspective, what do you think? Is Open RAN can be feasible for industrial 5G or?
For China Mobile, we always would like to welcome all the technology. We have some maybe research labs are studying about this, but I don't know the details. I hope that we can tell you about it later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. So now we almost consume our time, but we did start later, isn't it? Maybe we can.
As we are here for you,
Yeah.
we can add an additional question because
Okay,
the first
one
one was
bonus
so
question.
short. One
Yeah.
last question. One last
Okay,
question.
will
for
give
the
us
audience.
a favor. Yeah. Thanks, Frank.
But no, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Or?
Do I miss someone? No. Okay, then thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. And actually, we are happy, and we hope we'll be next year here on stage as well. And you will find more information. Hopefully, I mean, will be broadcasted, or will be possible to access, isn't it, on the Hanover Fair website. Excellent. So thanks for all of you. Thanks for the moderator for having come, from far away as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for all for listening. I wish you a nice afternoon. Thanks.
Thank you.